Behold a beautiful layout in Visual Studio Code that makes you think maybe I'm sitting in the terminal instead of something like Vim. I've gotten rid of all the visual clutter. I've got a single file opened up, though I could easily split the screen here, put something on the right-hand side, open up two separate files. I got a ton of space. I'm zoomed in. The font is huge. It's easy for you to read it. It's easy for me to read it. And this is because I've gotten rid of all the clutter that when you normally install, you get. For example, if I just nuke all of my settings here, I want to go through what you can do to replicate this environment because this is basically a default right here. A lot of things you absolutely don't need. All right, so the first thing I recommend to get rid of is the minimap. I have no idea what the utility of this is. I don't know why you would look at your file this way and click around it. So to toggle the minimap, put in toggle and minimap into the palette. Then on the left here, another glaring error is the activity bar. Why would you ever need to click on any of this when you can just use a keyboard shortcut instead, like Shift Command X or Control Command X to get the extensions? So for this one, put in activity bar, hide it. All right, and then next up, if you look at the top of each of the files I have opened, I have the breadcrumbs here. I also have a tab bar here. Really, this is not necessary. All right, so open the command palette, look for hide and tab bar, hide editor tabs. There you go. The tabs are gone. Now, I think the breadcrumbs are also useless because when I click on a file, you can see its name up here in the title. So I don't know why I need the breadcrumbs right above here. I can get an extra line of code instead. So put in breadcrumbs, toggle that. That's gone now. And of course, if you want to get rid of the status bar, I think that's also worth getting rid of. And now we're getting into the slim pickings, but there's a lot of minor changes you can make as well to get some space back. For example, the gutter here in the editor has a lot of blank space for things like folding code. I have a little arrow to expand and collapse a code here. Same thing over here. I could fold this code on the left side. I have arrows over here. I think that is a rather useless feature to have. In this case, I'm not certain if there's actually an option in the command palette. So what you can do here is you can do editor dot and then show folding controls. Set that to never. That's inside of your JSON settings file. Now when you save that, that gets rid of some of the space there. And I no longer have the little arrows, but I still have lines highlighted, so I can still expand out code here or collapse it down. I still have all the controls just like before. It's just not on the left side. And of course, I have all the keyboard shortcuts to do the same. Taking away the little UI control to click on it is definitely a good way to habituate learning shortcuts. All right, next up, the little space here for glyphs, like to edit a line there. To click on this, for example. In that case, editor.glyph margin, set that to false. And if you're really adventurous, you can turn off the line numbers, save that. There you go, got another 2 characters back. And for bigger files, you'll probably save 3 or 4 characters if you're dealing with thousands of lines. In fact, I think that the files I have opened on the right and the left here, yeah, this one right here has 1,100 lines in it, so that's almost 4 characters that I'm wasting. So if I go ahead and reapply the change there to my settings file, watch on the right, look at how much space I got back. All right, for this next change, this might be seen as somewhat trivial, but if you go into the full screen mode with Control Command F, you can get to from the command palette as well. Because I've already removed most things, this doesn't look any different. However, you can see, you don't see the corners around the edge. You don't have the Windows buttons over on the left side. So a little visual declutter. But inside of this mode here, you can choose to hide the title bar and choose the hide custom title bar in full screen. There you go. Here's the option for that. Custom title bar visibility windowed now. So now in full screen, you get rid of the title bar. And then to exit full screen, use Control Command F or the command palette and toggle full screen. And then in terms of the title bar, you actually have some options you can get to by right-clicking. These also map to settings as well. For example, the command center is this middle little box here that you can click on to go to a file or execute other commands. That's basically the command palette. So go ahead and bail out of that with escape. You can hide that if you want, if you just want to see the name of the file. And then if I right-click over here, I have the other options over here. I can hide the editor actions, which are in the upper right now. And then if I want, I could even get rid of the layout controls, which show if the editor actions aren't there. And that actually shrinks the menu down just a little bit. So you have half of an extra line because of that. And I think that's great. And so now we're almost in full screen mode without getting rid of the title bar. And the title bar is important because the file name is there and it's nowhere else. You can see if I click between the different windows, I get the name of the file. All right, next up, you can change the presentation of the file name in the title bar if you want. If you come into the visual settings editor here and look for title, scroll down here to the window title, you'll see various different parameters you can provide to a template for how the title is made. Right now it's active editor short, which I believe is just the name of the file. Then there's a separator and the root name, which in this case is the name of the repository or the folder .files. So you can modify this. For example, I could drop off everything after the editor short if I want. There you go. You can see I'm in the settings, or if I come over to my Python code, that shows my Python file name. So that's really short. And if I get those settings back here, one of the key options here is the active editor short, medium, or long. So the folder that you're inside of versus the file that you're inside of, or the editor that you're inside of, because it might not always be a file name. And if I come down here and paste in or reset, actually you can reset by coming up here and right-clicking and resetting the setting. That'll put the default back in for you. So yeah, let me know what you think of this. Are you a type of person that likes to have a lot of visual controls, maybe just to remind you what's available? Or do you prefer keyboard shortcuts and would you like to maximize space? Is this something you found helpful? And if you know of something else I could customize here to get a little bit more space back, let me know in the comments down below. I'm always looking for a few extra characters.